Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, doing European Outlook for today's second video. So as was on a Thursday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 10 days or so in detail across Europe. I shall get on with that for you very short. Just say that the first video releasing was our 7 AM forecast. Got a 10 to 14 day that will include all our break features coming up for you later on this afternoon as well. Please like, share, subscribe on all our videos. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, let's start off. We're going to begin situation across Europe today on Thursday, the 9th of September. So the heat wave that we've been having across many parts of northern and western Europe is beginning to break down now as this trough of low pressure moves in from off the Atlantic into Ireland and the UK. Going a little bit further eastwards, though, it is still very hot. There's an area of high pressure sitting across eastern parts of Europe, and this is dragging up still these hot southerly winds. Northern Scandinavia, a lot cooler there, with winds coming in from the Norwegian Sea. So here's the upper air temperatures today. They are still generally hot, really, across most parts of Europe, especially sort of low countries and eastern France through Germany, over towards Poland as well. I mean, down into southeastern part of Europe, Hungary, and then through to the Balkans. Really hot upper air temperatures there for this time of the year. Mediterranean, of course, looking very warm to hot still. And as I said, it's a lot cooler across northern Scandinavia with this cooler air digging in from off the Norwegian Sea through there. So yes, it's beginning to get a little bit more unsettled across western parts of Europe. Heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out through parts of Ireland and the UK, extending down in towards France and northern parts of Spain. So those storms pushing in towards Belgium and Holland and the Netherlands and over into western parts of Germany as well. Going further north and east of that though, lots of dry weather, some showing conditions in the far north of Scandinavia and going down into these northeastern countries, eastern parts of Finland. But generally most areas from East Germany eastwards are going to be dry today. A few showers perhaps down into the eastern part of the Mediterranean. 1 or 2-3% central Balkan Med as well. But really southern and eastern areas have plenty of dry weather today. And very warm to hot across most parts of Europe. Once again, temperatures widely into the mid to upper 20s, if not below 30s Celsius. It is starting to cool down a bit for Ireland and also, of course, much cooler across central and northern parts of Scandinavia. Quite hot, though, through southern parts of Norway and down into Finland and Denmark, it has to be said. Right, through to tomorrow, Friday, low pressure will be sitting across the western parts of Europe again as a trough low pressure. Again, the high pressure is just weakening and easing away somewhat across many areas. That's how the upper air temperature look tomorrow. So they are beginning to cool down through the UK, through Ireland, into northern parts of France as well, or northwestern France. France generally is a little bit cooler tomorrow. Further eastward, still pretty hot through Germany and into Poland, and then particularly hot down into the southeastern corner of Europe, so through the Balkans down to Greece, and then back through the Mediterranean. Very hot still across eastern parts of Spain. Quite cool, even pretty cold across northern Scandinavia. That's where autumn is setting in. So precipitation-wise, again, many northern and east areas have a lot of dry weather tomorrow. Heavy showers and thunderstorms further westwards down into the Med. Could be some big storms beginning to kick off around Corsica and Sardinia. Italy, though, looks mainly dry. Most parts of the Balkans and into the southeast of Europe, Romania, for example, looking pretty dry through there. And then again, we have western parts of the Med looking mostly dry once more. Temperatures tomorrow. Again, the heat just easing back a little bit further eastwards, perhaps, as it starts to turn a bit cooler across the far northern and northwestern part of Europe. That cooler area of Scandinavia is just beginning to dig southwards slightly tomorrow, I think. Into Saturday, the trough of low pressure there will be between Scotland and Norway, taking more unsettled conditions perhaps in towards Scandinavia. Ridge still just about hanging on across eastern parts of Europe. Maybe signs of another ridge trying to get itself going somewhat across the southwest of Europe. Upper air temperatures look pretty hot through most parts of the Med, very warm, moving up the eastern side of Europe as well, and cooler through the northwest. We do find that the -5 Celsius ice flow beginning to dig into Arctic parts of Sweden and Norway, just telling us that yes, winter is knocking on the door in terms of the Arctic Circle. So So precipitation-wise, again, we have the showers and thunderstorms stretched out from southern parts of Scandinavia right the way down towards southern parts of Germany and eastern France. Mainly dry though across many parts of Spain, Portugal, France, and dry conditions extending back in towards the UK and Ireland, over with some wet weather for northern Scotland. Most parts of Eastern Europe look relatively dry as well. Some thunderstorms though through southern parts of Italy. Temperatures on Saturday, again, most areas look pretty warm, it has to be said. It is cooler through Scandinavia and into the UK and Ireland, but other than that, it looks generally pretty hot through most parts of Europe, with again temperatures widely into the mid to upper 20s, it's not low 30s Celsius. Most parts of Eastern Europe, for example, look like we're up at around 30 degrees there, and the Med again looks pretty hot, especially the southern, southwestern parts of the Mediterranean. On to Sunday, and the trough of low pressure is up over Scandinavia. At this point, it does look as though a bit of a ridge is trying to reform across western and central parts of Europe. Low pressure through the central part of the Med could bring some heavy showers through there. Upper air temperatures, again, they are cooler through the far north and northwest. So Ireland, UK, many parts of Scandinavia, upper air temperatures are not as hot as they have been. At the same time, though, the southern parts of Europe and much of Eastern Europe still looking quite hot with those upper air temperatures. So, precipitation-wise on Sunday, some heavy rain could move in towards Ireland, perhaps. Showers and thunderstorms still left over from a trough of low pressure across southern parts of Scandinavia, extending through the Baltic Sea into towards the northeast of Europe. Latvia, Estonia, for example, might get some heavy showers on Sunday. Otherwise, a lot of dry weather, it has to be said, as that high pressure tries to reform and get itself going. So there will be showers around in specific areas, particularly over mountainous areas like Pyrenees, the Alps, but overall, quite a bit of dry weather on Sunday, and still generally very warm or hot across most parts of Europe. It's just this extreme northwestern corner through Scandinavia, Ireland, into particularly northern parts of the UK where the temperature is significantly lower. But other than that, the hot weather really is clinging on by its fingertips. Monday, we find that we've got low pressure starting to move in from off the Atlantic into towards western parts of Europe. It looks like a thundery low could be starting to develop around Spain and France as well. Go further eastwards, a ridge trying to build through the central part of Europe, I think, and trying to extend northwards as well. Upper air temperatures look quite cool, or even cold for North Scandinavia, but quite cool across many parts of Scandinavia. Relatively cool across Ireland and the UK. Hot, though, anywhere south and east of that, especially through southern parts of Europe. Precipitation-wise on Monday, so showers across northern Scandinavia. They might be a little bit wintry in the Arctic Circle, and extending down the Baltic to the east of Baltic Sea. Again, some showers and thunderstorms pushing through there. Otherwise, probably dry weather. Again, specific areas could get some heavy showers. And then we come back to west of Europe, we find showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop through Spain and Portugal. And some quite wet weather transfers eastwards from Ireland in towards England and Wales, perhaps. Temperature-wise, looking quite cool again through the northwest, so Scandinavia and Ireland, UK, definite drop in temperature through there, probably only into the mid-teens Celsius in many of those areas. Hot, though, across France. I think it's not all that far away from Ireland and the UK. The hot weather is there over France, up to the mid-upper 20s Celsius. And then most areas east and south of that looking pretty hot again on Monday. Tuesday, we've got a trough of low pressure developing across the west of Europe, just a general trough, developing. It looks like we're trying to develop a high pressure area in the Norwegian Sea as well. That will pull quite cold winds in from the north into the far north and northeast of Europe. Potentially the heat again is across those central and eastern areas. That's how the upper air temperatures look. So they are hot from France over towards the Balkans and Black Sea. North of that, though, is relatively cool. Cold again into the far north of Scandinavia. So northern Sweden, probably into northern parts of Finland as well, and the northwest of Russia, looking pretty cold. Maybe some early snow flurries coming through in the Arctic Circle there. Going further southwards, yes, really hot, through most parts of central and eastern, southeastern Europe. Cool, or relatively cool, through the northwestern part of Europe. Precipitation-wise, those heavy showers and thunderstorms really start to blow up through Spain and pushing northwards into France. They might even start to move towards the island of the UK as well by the middle of next week. Central areas have a lot of dry weather, and then more showers and thunderstorms potentially in the far north and northeast of Europe. Temperature-wise, yes, it does look pretty cold there across northern Scandinavia, doesn't it? Temperatures are well down into single digits through there. Going further southwards, though, most areas are generally quite hot again, from France and the Low Countries through Germany over towards Poland, and then particularly in this southeastern corner of Europe, so again, like the Balkans down to Greece, Turkey, Romania, I think you see temperatures in those areas still holding up in the upper 20s, if not the low 30s Celsius. Generally quite cool on the western side of Europe. Wednesday, just gradually looking more unsettled day by day, isn't it, across western parts of Europe? So low pressure, through the UK, through Ireland, probably through France as well. High pressure trying to build over Scandinavia, and cold air on the eastern side of high pressure digging into the far northeast of Europe and the northwest of Russia. Still generally under the ridge of high pressure in this southeastern area, keeping things pretty hot through there. The upper air temperatures show that the heat is particularly getting squeezed towards that southeastern corner, so it's like the east-south east of Germany and Poland now, particularly around the Balkans again, and going down into southern parts of Italy, around the Adriatic, and then into Greece and Turkey. Very hot, with the upper air temperatures through there. Really quite cool under the Scandinavian high over Scandinavia. You would perhaps even say cold, and relatively cool really across most western parts of Europe as well. Southern Europe looks hot with those upper air temperatures. Precipitation-wise, again, increasing amounts of rainfall really is the theme, I think, through the west of Europe as the prolonged dry spell breaks. So heavy rain and or thunderstorms, through many areas, particularly like France, into some western Germany, again, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, definitely risk of heavy showers and thunderstorms. Going further eastwards, that a lot of dry weather till we come up into the northeast of Europe, and then we'll have outbreaks of heavy rain, maybe some thunder mixed in, and there might even be some snow flurries in the Arctic Circle. Looking pretty cold across Scandinavia. Temperatures have tumbled down into single digits there across most parts of Scandinavia by the middle of next week. Cool across the west of Europe as well, where we've got those heavy showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures probably only sort of mid-teens Celsius. The heat really clinging on from Germany and Poland south and eastwards into this southeastern corner of Europe. Thursday, a deepening area of low pressure starts to rattle in off the Atlantic, looking quite autumnal now for the UK and for Ireland. Ridge of high pressure trying to extend through France, Spain and Portugal. And again, we've got these cold northerly winds digging in across the extreme north and northeast Europe. Upper air temperatures show where the coolest and the coldest of the weather is in the far north and northeast of Europe. It shows where the hottest of the weather is as well in this southeastern corner and extending back through the Mediterranean. Most parts of western Europe just looking relatively cool with those upper air temperatures. Turning wet and windy, something we've not been able to say for a very long time. Turning wet and windy across the UK and Ireland with that deep area of low pressure in the Atlantic. Meanwhile, further eastwards, we'll have further heavy showers and thunderstorms from southern Scandinavia right way down in towards the Alps. And some of those storms might actually start to push in towards the Balkans as well by Thursday. Northeast Europe mainly dry, but obviously quite cold, and again there could be some early snow flurries in the extreme Arctic Circle. Again, it looks pretty cold there across most parts of Scandinavia. Temperatures are pegged back into single digits. Cool across west of Europe. They've got this wind and rain sweeping in. Ireland and the UK probably again only low to mid-teens Celsius. Going further eastwards, though, the heat clings on across that eastern and southeastern part of Europe. Probably getting a little bit warmer across France as well, perhaps, by Thursday. We're just running on to day 10, so this is how things are looking for Friday next week. Wet and windy in the northwest of Europe through the UK and Ireland. That wind and rain probably extending in towards the Low Countries and west parts of Germany as well as northern France. At the same time, Scandinavia, relatively dry under that ridge, but quite cold. Still, the heat goes on across southern parts of Europe. And then into the weekend of the 18th and 19th of September, we try to build up a bit of a ridge again across western and southwestern areas. That might start to pull up some warmth back from southern Europe into like France and Germany in particular. Scandinavia still under that area of high pressure. Scandinavian high still there, so that keeps things quite cold for them, but mainly dry. And then again, hints of more wind and rain perhaps coming in towards the UK and to Ireland by that point. So autumn is progressing, you know, quite an interesting week this week as we've been in this prolonged dry spell of very warm, hot weather and a lot of dry conditions too, as this September, you know, for the first 10 days of September. But the next week to 10 days definitely has a more autumnal flavour to it, I think, across many parts of, particularly Western Europe. But with time, that will extend further eastwards as well. And Northern Europe, again, looking you know, really quite cool. Autumn well and truly setting in the weekend across Scandinavia, and northern Arctic Scandinavia, winter is starting to commence. Right, so that's it for European Outlook for this week. If you've enjoyed the video, then please can you like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for doing that, and we'll be back later on with our 10 to 14 day that will include all of the regular features. But for European Outlook this week, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.